Welcome back, Warriors. Back with another episode of Bigger Warriors 2 and the 1% Club. It is great to see you guys. I hope you guys are on your purpose. Hope you guys are staying with your plan. And I want to thank all the viewers, subscribers, people comment and like. I appreciate all that. We're getting a few more women to also view, which I think is wonderful. I think even though we talk about male issues a lot, primarily because I have a lot of male viewers, I think it's also very important for females to kind of get this information just to understand where males are coming from and try to help males, because I think in the long run, we're complementing each other. There are certain things that females do well that males can't do well half the time, and the same thing with the opposite. And so I think it's important for us to realize that, and instead of being more divisive in separating people, we should really be more together and kind of focusing on helping each other out. So I think certainly I welcome everybody who wants to participate and view and have comments and those type of things too. I'm going to move this camera a little bit over here. All right, so once again, subscribe, like, comment. We're going to talk about being angry and the fact that only beta males are angry. Okay, now this one is referring to males. We're not going to focus on females on this one, but the idea is that in order to really kind of deal with this, you have to kind of understand what angry is. And so the bottom line is that angry is a frustration you have. And I know I was just almost ready to be angry a few minutes ago, right? And certainly when you're driving, you get a lot of chances to be angry and people angry as well. And this has been a battle of mine for many, many years, right? And I've gotten better with it, but still there's times where, you know, you just feel like exploding. Now, part of this is the way that we're kind of brought up. We realize that if we don't accomplish something, we're frustrated, and a lot of times there's not an easy way to let that out, and so we let that out by, you know, anger and yelling and screaming and like that. And then if you're, you know, brought up in families where I was, where a lot of times you're yelling and screaming, then you think that's kind of normal and you're used to that as a response, and those type of things really, you know, kind of affect you as you go along. So I've had to kind of deal with a lot of that over the years. I think certainly when it comes to peace, you know, being peaceful and happy and living a long, you know, prosperous type of life, and being calm in chaos, as the Stoics talked about, is really crucial. And only the people who really kind of are more of the beta males, because of the frustration they have, will end up being the angry people who are always angry. Now, once in a while, being angry is one thing, right? There's nothing wrong with being angry once in a while, because that happens. We all get angry. Now, how you exert that and how you let that go is you know, different. And certainly when you're on your journey, you're going to have times when you have so much energy, some things going on, that being angry might be something that comes out. It doesn't really prevent you from being angry. So that's another type of skill that you have to kind of think about and work on. But I do think that being on your journey and retention and brahmacharya, all those type of things allow you to be more in control of your emotions, because those energy is inside of you and you're able to kind of work on those emotions more. You're not as fearful and have anxiety. You're not as much as fear and rejection. And because you don't have the fear of rejection, you're not going to necessarily go ahead and get frustrated and angry with things, because you know things are eventually going to work out. Is it irritating? Of course. You know, you can't avoid that. I mean, you're going to have that irritation. And I know one of my viewers are talking about energy overload, and we have another video on that, by the way. But when you look at energy, it's possible to have too much energy at times. And that's why we try to say we always have to try to transmute that energy in useful ways. And so there's times where you can kind of be like a dam and blowing up, and, you know, focusing on trying to have too much, and it's kind of exploding. And those things happen. So, you know, it is possible to still get angry and frustrated and things like that. But I think as you look at trying to control behaviors and control yourself, anger is a crucial one. And so true warriors, true people, alpha males, people who are trying to be strong, really don't get angry, right? And so as we all work to those, and I'm certainly working towards mine as well, trying to focus on becoming less angry, what can you do about that? So realizing it's a frustration, you have to do a number of different things. The first thing to do is you have to go ahead and try to realize that you're getting angry, okay? Now, it's not easy to do that, but you have to kind of take a step back. So as you're in the situation and you're realizing that I'm going to respond this way in a negative way, you're realizing, okay, this is the time that I have to try to figure out how to stop this, okay? Because you don't want to lose energy by getting angry. This is what happens. So when you get angry, you're really losing energy. This is part of that emotional draining that we talk about. And you know this. If you've been in a fight, you've been yelling and screaming, all that type of things, afterwards you just feel very drained. And so instead of using that energy for positive types of things, like goal setting and achieving goals and things like that, we focus on the opposite of it, and we lose energy because of the emotional drain. And as I'm on monk mode now for about 11 to 12 days, I tend to realize how important this energy is. And I'll talk about that once I hit 500 days total. And the monk mode really is also taking it to another level. And I'm starting to experience some of that too. Not even trying to think about and even contemplate any of those type of things. Puts you in a really rare type of situation, which I've never experienced before. So, but when it comes to anger, you're also seeing that come about. I can see times where I would be angry, or people that would make me angry for that. But remember, just like what I just said, people make you angry. So these people, I mean, if your enemies knew exactly that they were making you angry, they would probably be laughing and jumping up and down, right? But the question really is that if you say the word, they made me angry, right? You're really not kind of being really descriptive. You're the one getting angry, right? You're the one that's angry. They're not angry. In fact, they may not even care, right? But you're the one that's angry. So because you're angry, you have to figure out a way to stop it. And you can control that, okay? Now, the first thing you got to do, once you look at this and say, okay, this person is pissing me off, right? Then you have to kind of take a step back and realize it. So that's step number one. Step number two, you have to try to move into a different mindset as you're thinking about this. So what I mean by that is you're focusing on looking at the mindset of saying, okay, let's get out of this situation. Now, I don't always recommend, I recommend fighting, and this is part of the problem we have with people, is in my old, fault is the fact that I always fight all the time, because I feel like that, I was like that in football, and I learned how to, you got to fight for yourself and all those type of things. But when it comes to this idea of being angry, this is only hurting you. This is not an emotion you want, so you have to try to get away from that emotion. It doesn't mean that you've lost the fight or anything like that. And so you have to try to, first of all, say, okay, I'm going to walk away from this. Now, that's the first thing you should try to do. Once you identify that you're starting to get angry, walk away. Chances are the other person's not going to walk away, so they're going to stay there. And in fact, if you're kind of stuck in that situation, well, then now you got a second issue. Now you're stuck. There's nothing you can do. And so now you have to try to just sit there, and I would say nothing. So if you're stuck and you can't leave the situation, say nothing. And let that person talk. They're going to talk themselves out to the point where you're not really responding. And so that diffuses the anger in the whole situation, both from you and them. And in fact, if you're not angry and they're angry, that's really the best approach to take, right? Don't say too much. Let them vent out. I know it's hard because the ego is so strong for us that we want to go ahead and instead fight, right? But in this case, all you're doing is kind of exacerbating the problem and making things worse for you. You're feeling worse at the same time. And so you want to get to the point where you're not feeling that bad and worse about situations. And so you want to just go ahead and say, okay, talk, say your piece, and then move on. And this is a good technique, and I should actually use that more often than I do. I think you have to get to the point of realizing that being angry is not worth it in any kind of conversation, and being angry is not something that's going to help you achieve the goals and things that you want to achieve. Okay? So once again, as we talk about this, a big area of self-control is being able to control your anger. And this is something that's crucial when it comes to being successful. And I think this is a key point with all of that. All right, so until next time, Warriors, battle on.